Good afternoon, everyone. As I said, I'm Dr. David Childs, Director of Black Studies Program and Associate Professor of Social Studies Education and History. I'm truly happy and honored to be here with you today. Glad to see so many of my students. Give yourselves a round of applause. A lot of my students, you guys came out. That's really cool. That's what this is all about. Even some of my family here and even some of my church family, so glad you guys came out. The renowned African-American poet and Cincinnati native Nikki Giovanni said, "Art is not for the cultivated taste. It is a medium for information. Art is a tool for education of the people." In this way, art, film, and history can be tools of education and liberation. We gather at a critical juncture. While we celebrate Black History Month, we do so against a backdrop that demands more than just a celebration. It demands vigilance. We are currently witnessing an alarming anti-DEI climate, where the very mention of diversity is treated as a threat. And blatant racism is once again being signaled from the highest political offices. In such a time as this, the intersection of Black film and education and the arts is not just an academic interest, it is a site of resistance. Education provides the framework for understanding our past, but the arts, specifically film, provide the soul and the visibility that textbooks often omit. Film allows us to see ourselves not as caricatures, but as complex humans. It is how we fight back against the erasure of history. This is why our guest speaker today is so vital. Olivia Morris, a brilliant Black female filmmaker, represents the power of the lens. Her presence here reminds us that when Black women tell our stories, the narrative shifts from being observed to being understood. Her work sits at the heart of this intersection, using art to educate and to inspire all of us. To lead us into the next portion of our program, it is my distinct pleasure to introduce our student moderator, Jasmine Bradley. Jasmine, you can clap now. Go ahead and clap. She's fabulous. She's a junior majoring in nursing and minoring in honors, hailing from Louisville, Kentucky. I said it right, it's Louisville. People that are not from there, they say Louisville. They mess it all up for all kinds of things. It's Louisville. Jasmine is a powerhouse on this campus, currently serving as the president of the Activities Programming Board, the vice president of the Student Advisory Council for the Bachelor of Nursing and Bachelor of Science and Nursing program, and shares her expertise as a tutor of chemistry and path pharmacology. In January 2026, Jasmine returned from studying abroad in Zanzibar and Tanzania, where she gained global perspective by comparing healthcare systems. She plans to graduate in May of 2027 and pursue a master's in nursing to become a nurse practitioner. Please join me in welcoming Jasmine Bradley as our moderator today.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Childs, for the introduction. I want to say thank you for everyone for coming out tonight, and thank you for having me as your mistress of ceremony. First, we will have remarks from Professor John Gibson.
Thanks, Jasmine. Thanks, David. Thanks, Olivia. I want to take a moment to thank David for asking me to say a few words and to congratulate he and Olivia and the rest of the team on this accomplishment tonight. Any storytelling endeavor, especially one involving an animated film, is an incredibly challenging task and takes strong leadership to put together, and I'm incredibly excited to see your all's work tonight as well as the work of the rest of your all's creative team. So David asked me a couple days ago if I could make a few comments as a filmmaker and fellow educator. If I could make a few comments, and he asked, quote, if I would be willing to introduce myself and briefly talk about the importance of film, and particularly African American films. You know, this is an easy task. I can just whip that out. I only stared at my phone for like a good 20 minutes trying to even wrap my brain around what I would say, followed by 2 days of kicking around ideas that went nowhere, and like most people, having the best ideas when I was just about to go to sleep, only to promptly forget them the next morning. What do I say that hasn't already been said about the importance of telling stories about the African American perspective in our country's history? Like, I felt like I had nothing new to offer to state the importance that probably hadn't already been covered 1,000 times over by people far more knowledgeable than I. Then I turn on the news. Immigrants are being rounded up in countless cities across the country, many of whom their only real crime is being here in search of a better life for themselves and their families and not having the proper paperwork. I see stories of powerful men in our society taking advantage of captive young women and children and escaping accountability. I see signs taken down at national parks, signs that had promoted the contributions and accomplishments and troubling past treatment of those African Americans who had gone before us. And then I think back to the cemetery that my family and I saw this summer in the Great Smoky National Park of unnamed slaves, just stones on the ground. Only they had names that have been lost to time. But their story should not be lost because their stories are just as relevant today. Their stories are still happening today, and all those things I mentioned above. Their story, just like the stories of countless individuals who struggled, fought, and died for their rights, need to be told. White and black, there were heroes who fought to secure the rights of their fellow man and woman, just like we have people still to this day fighting. And maybe that's where storytellers like Olivia and David, and maybe some of you all sitting in the crowd tonight who are about to view this film, have the ability to do so much good. To keep telling those stories no matter how many times they've been told, because the lessons are still needed. Just goes by different names today, but it's still here. And we still have to keep telling those stories. We still need to hear, for example, about the courage that Sarah Fawcett had in the face of an oppressive system of injustice, and how that was happening right here in our region, not in some far-off city, not in some far-off land, but literally right across the river, and what was happening just south of us. So please join me once again in giving a round of applause to these two and their cast and crew, as well as all the Sarah Fawcett's of this world, past and present, still waiting to have their story told. So.
Thank you, Professor Gibson, for those words. Now I will invite Dr. Childs back up to the stage so we can view the film, My Day with the Fawcetts.
So I'm not going to do a whole lot of introductory words. This film speaks for itself. But I will say that we would not have been able to accomplish this without our guest today, Olivia Morris. I'm not going to do the introduction. Somebody else is going to do that. They have prepared words. But I want to give a shout out to our guy, Miguel. He has a full animated studio. He lives in Madrid, Spain. He did the animation. And afterwards, you'll get to meet some of the cast. I'll introduce them. So just sit back and enjoy. This is our first screening, our first public screening of the film. So I hope you like it.
I can't believe I overslept and almost missed history. My favorite class. My name is Kalia. I'm a high school student here in Cincinnati. I can't believe I overslept and almost missed history. My favorite class. My name is Kalia. I'm a high school student here in Cincinnati, and today we are learning about two local heroes, Peter and Sarah Fawcett. Peter was once enslaved at Monticello, Thomas Jefferson's estate. He later became a respected minister and businessman. Sarah studied hairdressing in New Orleans, then built a thriving salon here in Cincinnati. And together, they built their home and church stops on the Underground Railroad, helping hundreds of enslaved people escape. Their story was so incredible, I couldn't just sit and listen. I began to imagine what it would be like to be there. Peter and Sarah's courage amazed me. They risked everything, their freedom, their safety, to help others. Nothing could break their spirit.
Oh, thank God. There they are. Hurry, girls. Hurry up.
Y'all come on quietly now.
Hi, I'm Sarah.
Kalia,
Nice to meet you.
Sarah's salon was full of life.
Oh, darling. Here you are.
Women laughing, talking, sharing their stories.
Please sit down and relax.
Black and white women side by side. She did my hair with such skill and care. She worked so hard all day. I could feel the pride in her step as we walked home. Tired of walking, we waited for the streetcar. Even though slavery was illegal in Ohio on that day, segregation and racism reared its ugly head.
Not you. No room for your kind.
What did he say?
Don't worry.
You heard me. Move aside.
I will not move.
I'm warning you.
Let us on.
Get out of here.
I was shocked by what we experienced that afternoon, but for Sarah, the bitter realities of bigotry were all too familiar.
Case closed. The court finds in favor of the plaintiff. The Cincinnati Street Railway is ordered to pay
No.
the fine
Wait a
to
moment.
Mrs. Fawcett
Come on.
as outlined.
Your Honor. No, come on. What?
Even though her body and pride were badly bruised, she chose to be courageous in the face of adversity. Right here in my city, Peter and Sarah changed history. And I'll always remember my day with the Fawcetts.
We're going to invite the cast up, the cast members that are here. Our star, Hialeah Phillips, come on and stand on the stage. Come on, give her a round of applause. Eric's here. And Olivia, she's gonna do her thing in a minute, but she's the producer, writer, worked with me, showed me the ropes. And Professor John, where's Professor John? His team helped us with the sound, Norse Media. He's the one that got me into this whole world. So, am I missing anybody that's in the room? All right, let's give them a round of applause. The narrator and the role of Kalia was played by Hialeah Phillips. She's a high schooler. She's just in high school, so we want to just honor her. And he played the judge, not the judge. I played the judge actually. He played the streetcar conductor. They did a wonderful job. This is as you can see, National Geographic, the emblem there. This is a project from 2892, project out of National Geographic, and we wanted to work with youth. We're going to do more. We plan to do more of this kind of thing, and so let's give them one more round of applause. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Back over to our moderator.
I now invite Ms. Abigail Clark for the introduction of our speaker.
Right. Olivia Charmaine Morris is an accomplished entertainment executive and producer who has held key leadership roles at TBS, Kerry Washington's Simpson Street, and Amber Ruffin's Straight to Cards. An NYU Tisch alumna, she has shaped high impact content across scripted, unscripted, and animated formats for giants like Netflix, Disney, and Warner Bros. Notably overseeing the record-breaking comedy The Last OG. In 2020, she founded Black Monarch Entertainment, a globally focused production banner dedicated to amplifying underrepresented voices through boundary-pushing narrative and unscripted storytelling. Beyond her production work, she is a committed advocate for arts education, serving as a mentor and guest lecturer for institutions such as the Sundance Institute, NYU, and UCLA. Olivia Morris, everybody.
Is her birthday girl, and she has decorated a star, and I'm going to let her tell us who that person is and what's special about them to her. Go ahead, Olivia.
Barbie.
And why did you pick Barbie for your star?
Because I like her.
Okay, pull the star down so we can see it. What now?
Because I like her.
And why? Why do you like her?
Because she looks like you.
Okay, thank you.
I tried to fit in. I had to fit in. I consumed Abercrombie, InSync, and Full House to medicate my infection and nurse myself back to health. And it worked. I bleached my insides. I'm a Barbie girl, but I don't fit in this world. I'm wrapped in plastic, far from fantastic. I hate my nappy hair. This really isn't fair. Imagination, my black is your creation.
You're forgetting your roots.
You're unblack. But I wasn't unblack. I'm not unblack. I'm not.
So we came up with this idea, then we pitched it to many different studios. I remember we went to TBS, and Olivia was in the room. She's the one that picked the fucking idea. Yo, oh, come here, oh. Come here, oh. Let the people see your face. Love you. love you so much. She's the one that said it's a green light. Now y'all seeing it. This young lady right here. Right here. So it wasn't just me, it's so many people behind it. There's thousands of people behind this that made my vision come to life. And I just appreciate her. She'll tell you I am. Family.
All right. Good evening, everyone. So, I cannot begin without first thanking Dr. David Childs. He's a professor here at NKU. He's the director of Black Studies, an amazing creative collaborator, and now a close friend. David, thank you for organizing and hosting such a thoughtful, intentional, and powerful program. Can we guys give him a round of applause, please? We are here to celebrate Black cinema. And last I checked, it's still Black History Month. So let's start where we are. Can we give it up for Black people? Now, you may be a student, a teacher, a patron of the arts, or an artist yourself. If you're physically in this room, tuned into the live stream, or watching this sometime in the future, know that you're exactly where you need to be. I'm sincerely honored to have your attention and the opportunity to share space with you today. Before I continue, I want to set the table with a few ground rules, okay? First, because I talk a lot about self-care, I'm going to model it. I've been nursing some asthmatic lungs these past several weeks, and I appreciate my sweet little lungs for giving me the breath of life, but if this were a church, I know here a little bit of a take your time, baby. And so, I'm going to. Second, I ask that you be present with me. I know that it's rare to see someone like me on any stage and that this is going to be a lot of fun. But I am going to cover a lot of ground rules. I'm going to drop a lot of gems. And as a teacher and forever student, I'll never discourage you from taking any notes, but this is being recorded. I encourage you to listen closely and stay connected with everyone else here in the room. And lastly, I know that I could put up a bunch of slides and spend the entire hour walking you through various milestones and credits, but this is not my resume. I'm not going to read it to you. I'm not going to take you down a trip down my LinkedIn page. You can look that up later. This is a peek between the highlight reel. When you see me, I don't want you to just see some Hollywood executive who flew in to come speak with you today. I want you to see yourself, because you and I are a lot alike. Although I was born in South Central Los Angeles, I grew up here. I love that I can say Blue Ash, Kenwood, and Indian Hill, and you know exactly where I'm talking about. It doesn't happen very often. I've always had big dreams and a vivid imagination. And my career blossomed from being rooted right down the street in Cincinnati. From CCM Prep to Western Reserve Academy, I was immersed in the arts from a very young age. And that foundation continues to shape me and my work. Before I can introduce myself to most of you, and reintroduce myself to some of you, I want to start at the very beginning, if you'll allow me. My full name is Olivia Charmaine Morris, and Olivia Charmaine means peaceful little song. It was super adorable of you to name me that, Mamacita and Daddy-O, and it's so fitting of me today, so good looking out. My first best friend was my oldest brother, Jonathan. I'm so blessed to be his little sister. When I was 10, my family adopted my older brother, Wally, and my little sister, Amira. Over the last 25 years, our family has blossomed, and TT life is the very best life. I like to say that I lay flowers at the feet of all of the versions of me that existed before this very moment. When I asked my mom recently whether she thought of me as a capital A artist, she said that she's never known me to be anything else, which was really comforting. Over the years, my art has transformed as often as I have, but art has never ever been just what I create. It's who I am. It's woven into the very fabric of my DNA. My dear friend and interdisciplinary artist Terrence Nance once told me, "We are here to create whatever comes to our spirit, in whatever form it comes." I've learned in life that one of our finest tools will always be our curiosity. Now, I know that context matters. In 1970, the renowned poet Gil Scott-Heron informed us that the revolution will not be televised. But he couldn't have foreseen cord-cutting, digital native, social media, and what TV even means today, right? So information used to move so differently. There were fewer channels, everyone tuned in at the same time, and there were water cooler conversations around like literal water coolers. You guys know water coolers, they existed. They were at work, in salons, across dinner tables, on the school bus. You really got to know the people in your community, not what everyone in the entire world was doing at any given moment in time. Humans were never designed to be or do everything, everywhere, all at once. Journalistic integrity and attribution used to be the standard. It was clear what was fact and what was fiction. Right now, the lines are blurred on purpose. People are confused, and so much of what is filtered to the masses gets thrown into one bucket. I'm gonna say that line, it's important. Now, the lines are blurred. People are confused, and so much of what's filtered to the masses gets thrown into one bucket that we like to call slop. And yet, Nina Simone reminds us, it's the artist's duty to reflect the times. This keynote can't exist in a vacuum. We are living and daring to create in incredibly heightened times. But Renaissance literally means rebirth. And the most provocative, important art has always been born of the revolution. We learned from Langston Hughes how deferred dreams can dry up like raisins in the sun. And from Maya Angelou that caged birds always sing of freedom. When Auntie Nina was asked what freedom meant to her, she answered quite simply, no fear. Lately, we hear a lot about building your brand, but we don't talk enough about curating your taste, inspirations, and personal style. Those are the deep creative wells that never ever run dry, especially when confidence or momentum wavers. So as I move through my timeline and share some concrete pearls of wisdom, I want you to look beyond any particular person or project. Pay attention to the work happening between the margins of the pages, of the reels, and of the frames. If you know me around town, you probably call me O. And if you really, really know me, you call me the plug. I love being the plug. It is a title that I bestowed upon myself as much as it's since been earned. Being the plug has never just simply been about networking or the proximity to power. It's about building community, building pathways. It's about helping others, orchestrating blessings, and saying people's names when they're not in the room. I'm a creative executive and executive producer by trade, and by design, one of the most misunderstood part of our industry is development. To me, development has always meant giving artists a safe space to play. It's true that it's become more common to talk about diverse projects, and yet, the following facts remain. 1. Far less than 1%, how much is less than 1%, right? Far less than 1% of content in the marketplace represents stories told by creators from the communities that are being depicted. 2. The number of diverse executives with real seats at the table don't match the diversity of the population or the audience. And far too often, the seats are riddled with thorns. And 3, most diverse projects die on the vine because culture gets lost in translation. It's hard enough to develop and buy, let alone sell a project. Everybody has a mixtape, okay? And as we know, the word diverse and DEI metrics now come fully loaded. While my colleagues and I continue working to reconfigure the entire ecosystem, I've been developing the butterfly test. The butterfly test is my original framework for evaluating representation, authenticity, cultural impact, and storytelling. Media analysis is inherently subjective, but the butterfly test proposes a new industry standard by offering a path towards a quantitative, repeatable metric that can be applied to any film or TV show across generations. In this new reality, the kaleidoscope of stories that reflect the full spectrum of human experiences are celebrated. Culture cannot change unless narratives, the pipeline shaping them, and the culture of critique changes too. Take a little sip of water. The next part is about being mission critical, okay? It is mission critical that you take the time to figure out who and what inspires you. And once you know, double down. Commune with Mother Nature. Consume art outside of your discipline. Travel. If planes, trains, and automobiles aren't accessible to you, try walking back from a different way in which you came. Go out of your way to meet people unlike yourself. And don't just meet them, see them. Really get to know them. The only thing stronger than tolerance is empathy. While it's a special experience serving as someone's muse, you are your first home. I learned to see and love myself as my own muse, and I encourage you to do the same. Like fellow scholar Megan the Stallion taught us, remind yourself as often as you need to that you're her, and him, or them. Remember, a craft is not a hobby. Would you call yourself an athlete without having a fitness routine? Because art is often born in free flow. Because of that, discipline and consistency matter. Writer's block, it's gonna come. But spontaneity can thrive inside structure. Evolution is natural, so embrace it. Tell the truth. Your truth. Think of your North Stars the same way our ancestors did. They guide us. They redirect us around dark corners. And quite often, they're the only light shining along our path. Guard them at all costs. And don't be afraid to challenge them from time to time. Our belief systems can change. Our morals and values should evolve. Ask yourself, whose voice do I hear in my head when I share my values out loud? If the voice echoing back is not your own, and even if it belongs to somebody that you trust, take the time you need to make sure that your North Stars are still in alignment with your innermost heart songs. The artist you're coming up with, that's your creative class. Connect horizontally. Find specialized brains that are bigger than yours and share ideas, insight, and resources. My parents are celebrating 40 years of marriage, and as I've said since day one, it's better together. The strongest communities aren't codependent, they're interdependent. Learn the difference. As my big brother Tracy Morgan often advised me, only get money with people who want to get money with you. Keep your grass cut low and be someone that others can trust and rely upon. Think of your community like a tree. A community, if you'll allow me. Most people, they're like leaves, acquaintances, colleagues. Let them come and let them shed like the seasons. Friends are branches. They hold some weight. But best friends, the ones that become like family, like my sweet sister Vandana, who's with me this evening, those are the roots. They come with distinction and shared responsibilities. Even if it's the dead of winter, or the tree is cut down to the stump, roots
never stop absorbing nutrients. Your roots will prop you up when you're at your lowest. They are allies, megaphones, and mirrors that reflect back the best version of you, particularly when you can't see it for yourself. Categorize accordingly, and remember, spring cleaning is for people too. Have a Secure the Bag playlist, okay? I've had it for like over 10 years. It's so lit. And update it regularly. The track shouldn't just be about getting rich quick, but rather stacking your coin, making smart investments, and harnessing the power of stewardship. Earn your promotions. Master the art of negotiating. And as I learned from Coach Rieger in mock trial, command the room. Curry. Be careful who you partner with and pay close attention to where you sign your name. There are always terms and conditions. Read them. Be meticulous. And celebrate your wins, both big and small. Don't grind so hard that you let the moments pass you by. Self-care. I love it. We talk about it every day. It's an act of resistance, and it's not the same thing as mental health. Long before the phrase was ever commodified, I hit many walls in my life and career. The concept of black girl magic was yet to exist. I know I look young, but I'm 34. It didn't exist yet. And time again, my crown was off kilter, and my sparkle had lost its shine. I had to teach myself how to recover after finding myself at rock bottom, and how to keep myself from ever nearing the edge. Caring about yourself doesn't have to cost any money. Be mindful of what you consume, from food to music to screens and beyond. Rest and sleep. They're different. Do both. Your body carries your spirit. Move it often, and be as gentle with it as you are with your beautiful brain. Surround yourself with people who delight in seeing you well, and will freely provide loving support as needed, no strings attached. When tidal waves of loss, disappointment, or counterproductivity knock you down, learn how to not let them wipe you clean out. As my late, great Auntie June and I used to joke between us, at the very least, drink water and mind your damn business. Love you, Auntie June. As our elders say, I've been here before. I'm ancient. I'm like literally 1,000 years old. And I relish in my grandma activities. Puzzles, vinyl, slow mail, cooking, handwritten literally anything, books, getting lost and found in their pages. And tea. I have literally always loved tea. If you ask my mom, one of my first birthdays was like a little tea party. Like, I love it, I love it, I love it. And in late autumn, early Scorpio season of 2020, early, still very much in quarantine panty days, I created and began hosting a weekly Instagram live talk show called, you guessed it, The Tea. On the show, I spoke with other artists about their career journeys and sources of inspiration in a warm, intimate setting. Authenticity, in its rawest form, is sharing what you embody, and any savvy audience can tell when you're creating from that space. Sir Drizzy I'm cracking myself up. Sir Drizzy Drake dropped #YOLO, and for any non-millennial, you only live once, while I was a film student in Tisch. While it was fun on our giant insomnia cookie cake, shout out to you, dear Andre, watching at work, it's not as much fun in practice. As we collectively shift our consciousness, let's not live like there's no tomorrow, but rather like we want to see and enjoy as many tomorrows as God allows. Everyone wants to leave a legacy. We all know that tomorrow is never promised. These aren't reasons to rush, but rather reasons to live urgently and with intent. So, color outside the lines. Redefine and defy over and over and over and over and over again as many times as you need. I constantly ask myself, who am I outside of my art? And I think you should ask yourself that question too. Even when you have a calling, sometimes the phone will stop ringing. And when the output slows down, what remains? Ashley Tucker, an old dorm mate and cherished friend from Western Reserve, recently designated me as a historian, and that instantly resonated. My inner circle affectionately refers to me as variations of Olivia. Of course, she kept that Morris. Olivia, of course, she still has that thing. Olivia, like, literally, you still have that thing. And I love it. I'm an archivist. I chronicle, memorialize, and remember and hold things. To others, these items may appear to be junk, but to me, they're precious. We romanticize thrifting and collecting antiques. But if mementos store memories, why aren't we more careful with our own? Never forget, something or someone in your life right now was once on a vision board. You are a combination of answered prayers, and we are our ancestors' wildest dreams. I'll open it up to questions now.
Thank you. Gentlemen are coming down with some chairs. Come on, you can come down. Deacon Chris. Let's give her a round of applause one more time. So, what I want you to do is start thinking about questions or comments you have, especially my students. I want to hear from at least 3 of my students, at least, way more than that. But start thinking about questions, comments that you might have. Also, here's what I want you to do. Take pictures, think about quotes or interesting things you heard tonight, because we want to put it out to the internet, into Facebook, into social media. Definitely hashtag, I want to do hashtag Dr. David Childs, and I want to share it out to the world. And another hashtag is Black and Brown Educators. I want you to be thinking about that, and I'm going to give you some homework. Your homework is basically share it with the world. I'll put up a hashtag here in a second on the screen. Okay, come on up, Jasmine. Jasmine and Olivia, they're going to have a seat, and this to the audience. And stand up, Eric. He's going to help us with that. I'll pass the mic. Okay, be thinking about your question. You can ask about, and she's very modest. She interned with Nickelodeon in college, and she has some great stories. High school. Whoa. Yeah, and so that the whole Sesame Street. I was most excited about her work with Sesame Street. And so she's done everything. Netflix. You saw her with Tracy Morgan, and that's just half the people she knows. Karen Parsons, of course, from Fresh Prince, works closely with her. And so, okay, you ready for your questions? Raise your hand, please.
Hey Queen, my name is Paige and I am one of his students. Shout out, child. I had questions kind of going hand in hand together. You gave the quote, and I live by this quote: live for today because we aren't promised tomorrow. I truly live by that. And so you also gave the quote, talking about when you get a calling and sometimes the phone hangs up. So how do you live day by day knowing that you aren't promised tomorrow? And if you ever feel discouraged when the phone hangs up for your calling, how do you respond to that?
It's such a good question, and I could talk about that for 6 hours. I will say the best way that I've learned how to do it over the years is treating every single day like a new day. It's a new opportunity. There's things you shouldn't do before you go to bed, like the sun go down on your anger. There's things you should do in the morning, like brush your teeth and take a shower. And when I say rinse and repeat, like, there were so many times when something that happened was carrying into long seasons where I couldn't get up out of the bed for like months at a time. Now it's like, my friend Alzo said to me once, I was complaining about something that happened when I was at TBS. It was a big deal. It was a really big loss. He sent me this long text, and basically at the end of it, he was like, you need to know that you can be down for 5 minutes, and I need you to get back up again. And I was like, this is going to take more than 5 minutes. I'm going to be mad for a while, but that stayed with me years later because at the end of the day, not just the day's got to end, but at the end of the day, it's really important for you to understand that if you wake up in the morning, it's another chance. Seriously, it can really be that simple. And I think when it goes to your calling, it's yours. You know? I think so often when we're trying to share, we're not also listening because you can't do both at the same time. And so a lot of times you're like, I gotta pick up the phone, like, but at the end of the day, like, the calling is there whether the phone is ringing or not. It's metaphorical. And so one of my favorite poems is a Rupi Kaur poem, and basically she's saying, if you're lonely, you're in desperate need of yourself. And so in those moments, spend time with yourself. That's the best thing I can, like, sometimes for a plug, like, you gotta unplug. You know, that's the best advice.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Felicia. My question was what are some of the challenges and ways you handled being not only a woman, but a woman of color in an industry where it's predominantly male, white male?
Yeah, I make this joke that sometimes I get really exhausted trying to figure out like what picket sign to have because I'm like, I'm queer, I'm black, I'm young, I'm tired all the time. I'm exhausted. But something that my mom said to me when it was like a year after I graduated college. Actually, it was the same year I graduated. I had like my first like big girl job, and I was mad because even though I was like 21, 22, it was a big job, and people treated me sometimes like I was too young to do the job. Having come out of Tisch, I thought I was like, listen, I could run this studio. Maybe could have, didn't though. You know what I mean? In my head. And when I called my parents that day, I was mad. I was in the parking garage. I was like, oh, they did this and they did that. And it's because I'm black and I'm a woman and I'm this and I'm young. And my mom stopped me and she goes, well, you're not always going to be young. I said, And why that's important is there are certain distinguishing parts of you that are intrinsic and will never ever change. But some of them do. And so use those to your advantage. And the things that are intrinsic to your DNA, you can't change it. Don't try to. You know, I think a lot of times people think like Hollywood is a certain way, and it is. But I will say the people that I spend most time with is Black Hollywood because I very intentionally like curated that community for myself. And so, yeah, surround yourself with people who are like-minded. And when it does come to any sort of opposition, just have strategies, you know? Yeah. And it's easier to do when you're with other people who've had similar experiences. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Shay, and I'm also here with my classmates from Dr. Child's class. I just wanted to know if you can elaborate a little bit more about
Can you stand, please? I forgot to tell people. We want to see you. You stand and ask you a question. I forgot to mention that. Thank you. Let's give her a round of applause.
Well, we wanted to know if you can elaborate a little bit more about the video. I feel like you kind of touched it on the last question, but if you can maybe explain a little bit more about what it means to you and why you feel like you wanted to create the video.
Do you mean the first video or the second video? The one was our baby?
Both.
When I was an adult?
I guess
Both.
both, yeah.
Both. Two short videos. Okay, I got you. So, those three clips were from three separate things, and I'll touch on each of them briefly. So, the first clip was from my 5th birthday here in Ohio, well, Kentucky, Ohio, this area. And I told my mom that I wanted to have a Hollywood themed birthday party. Mind you, we don't come from Hollywood. So she was like, what do you mean? But also, I had also told her I had a dream that I had gotten out of a long car and someone had asked me how to sign my name in squiggles, like I was up in preschool. So she was like, okay, let's do it. And I was born in 1991. There's not a lot of videos of me as a kid. Like a lot of people now, it's like you have camera rolls full of like one brunch. That's that's the only one I have at that age. And so for me, that whole birthday party video is about an hour long, but that little clip sometimes is just enough to like let me remind myself who I've always been. Yeah. And then the next part of that clip, so when I was at Tisch, the only project that I ever made that really meant anything to me is called My Black Cigs. That's my short film. Shot it on 35 millimeter, Arnie Baskin's class, God rest him. And why that mattered so much to me is not just learning the technical skill of it. It was the first time where I really tried to explore my blackness and what it meant to me, especially in the context of a predominantly, not just predominantly white institution, it's like the most predominant, the most dominant. And I remember when I pushed play, I was standing in the back of the room, it was dark, the projector starts playing, and I was so proud of myself, and the moment that it started, I said, what the hell were you thinking? I was so mortified. And it's something I worked on for a couple of years, and I think when I look back on it now, all these years later, again, it's the only thing that exists like that. And it connects the thread of some of the questions that I've always asked myself. And then the last clip with Tracy. So to be more specific, so I'm a development executive by trade. A lot of people, like I said, don't know what development means, and that is on purpose. Development basically means if you are selling something as a producer, you have to have someone who's going to buy it. So I'm on the other side of the table. So when people are like, hey, I want to pitch you a show, I'm like, yes or no, right? And so Tracy came into the room and pitched The Last OG. I was the only black executive, not just at TBS on that team, but in that room. And if I hadn't been in that room, that show wouldn't exist. And not just having been in that room, I was able to work on the first 3 seasons of that show as the principal executive and producer. So yeah, I'm really proud of it. I like to share that for sure. Thank you for the question.
Hi, my name is Hannah. I'm a student at NKU. I'm a sophomore. I'm a biology major, so I'm in STEM. My question to you would be, what is some advice you can give to students who are underrepresented? Because there's not a lot of black people in STEM, so I was wondering how a student might navigate through that.
That's a great question. Unfortunately, we're underrepresented in every single field, medium, arena, just period. But that being said, we also are exceptional by trade, right? By design, not by trade, by design. And so what I will say is it's twofold. One is interwork and one is relating to others. I think when it comes to yourself, that's when you really drill down. And so if you're in STEM, it is becoming highly specialized in what you're really passionate about. And when it comes to the work with others, sometimes it might not feel like relating to other people in that space is going to be helpful for you. I remember, I won't say who, but I remember somebody saying in a very public forum that you can't always trust the black executive in a room because they're not always going to have your best interests at heart. And I was the black executive in that room. So I say that to say, there are sometimes other people in your field, if they're the only person, that might seem like an ally but ends up not necessarily being that. And so discernment over time. As a student, the most important thing for you to do is to focus on school. I wish that I knew to go to the library at my university before I left. So take advantage of the resources of being while you're a student. But yeah, I also will say like there's a lot of pressure trying to figure out what comes next, and that literally never goes away. So try to stay as focused in the present moment as you can.
Hi, I'm Scarlett, and I'm also a student for Dr. Childs. Sorry, I had to think for a second to come up with a question, but I'm a writer, and I'm very passionate about writing. I write poems. I'm currently writing a book. And you mentioned like getting writer's block and like roadblocks in general. So how do you get like back on track like with your passion and with writing in general?
Yeah, that's a good question, and congratulations. Please keep writing, no
Thank
matter
you.
what you write. Try to think of a blockage in another context. So, like, if your drain gets clogged, it's because something's stuck in it, right? And so you can try to, like, force clean it, or you can, like, get drain out, let it sit there, and then, like, probably let it run away. Do you know what I mean? And so, the best advice, I mean, advice can be so subjective, but don't try to force it. I think sometimes we set these limitations and standards that we made up for ourselves. For example, I thought I was gonna have like a whole slide presentation, and it got closer and closer, and I was like, oh my god, I'm not gonna have all 50 slides, and I was like, Olivia, don't, just don't, right? I made that up for myself, and then I was adding pressure from something that I made up. It happens all the time. And so, in terms of not forcing it, make sure that you allow yourself to breathe and take breaks. And so even if you love writing and you're like, I have to write 5 pages by the end of the day, if they're not coming, do something else. One of my mentees that graduated from TIS recently, she told me that she hadn't been running. She like loved to run. She hadn't been running in so long. She wasn't cooking. She wasn't seeing her friends. She was focused on her like capstone. And after our conversation, she texted me and said, I went for a run today. And I'm like, that mattered to me more than literally any. I mean, her film was incredible, but that really meant a lot too. So yeah, take care of yourself and try not to. Don't force creativity because it's kind of counterintuitive and counterintuitive.
I had a
Thank you so
question.
much.
Oh, sorry. To finish.
Oh, I was just saying thank you.
I had a question while others are thinking about it. We got time for about 2 or 3 more. So I had a question to Jasmine. As a student, as a woman, as a woman of color, what advice would you give to your peers about success? We've seen Olivia's rise to success, and she dropped so many nuggets in terms of like overcoming self-care. We all need that. What advice would you give to us in terms of your own success? Jasmine's very successful on the campus. She's a leader. What advice would you give to us about overcoming obstacles and just being a leader?
Thank you. I feel in my personal experience, success has been defined in multiple different ways for me. Even the very small things, like being able to come home and rub my feet together, that's a win for me at the end of the day. But I feel like over time, especially coming to college, I've learned to just celebrate every small win and take in every small win, especially being at a PWI and being a black woman here, and just accomplishing the small things is a big thing for someone else. And I feel like you have to be that, or I try to be that model, not just for me, but for people that come after me. I want to be that person to somebody where they can come to me and ask me questions about everything, and that makes me feel successful at the end of the day, because I feel like I've done my job here on earth, and that's my purpose, just to help others. And that's why I went into nursing as well, just to help people in that aspect. So success to me is defined differently over time, but as time goes on, it's going to evolve. So, thank you.
Follow-up question. It's always louder than I think. Follow-up questions to both of you all. It's Black History Month. Why is Black History Month so important for all of us? We're at a predominantly white university, but we're all people. We're all humans. Why is it important that we celebrate? Is it just for black people, just for people of color? Why are we here? Why do we keep doing this? Because in many ways, there are forces that don't think we should be doing this. And I'll say this publicly, many of our programs have been shut down here right on campus. The program I direct is one of the only, if not the only, Black Studies is the only black program or program of color, I guess you would say, ethnic kind of study program that's left. And so why is it important that we keep doing this, that we bring people like Olivia, Jasmine, all of you here? Why is it important for all of us? Both of you can take that.
From my perspective, being here, like Dr. Child said earlier, I'm a junior. So over time, I've been able to see the university change, especially with the huge change of anti-DEI laws being passed last school year. Unfortunately, we protested. We did all that we could. We showcased our voices, and at the end of the day, those spaces were taken away. I was a part of a lot of those spaces, including the African American student initiatives. There was also Latina student initiatives, as well as the LGBTQ office as well. And as a student here, it's been so hard to navigate building those spaces back up because those spaces being taken away has discouraged students from coming out or from just coming to NKU in general. And it's made it harder on students like us to try to get everybody out, try to get everybody to celebrate who we are and what we have here now. But I feel like Black history in general is every single day for me, and it should be for everybody, because there is no American history without Black history. And as I continuously live throughout my life, I just learned to appreciate me as a person as well as all the people that have come before me, because we are just so important. And we make our mark every single day. We're replicated all the time. But I feel like it's super important for us to always share who we are, stay true to ourselves, and just inform everybody.
That was amazing. Thank you, Jasmine. Listen, I'm not going to follow that. I'm just going to add one thing. So, in addition to all the other things I be doing, I sit on the board of directors for Sweet Blackberry. It is a nonprofit that shares little-known stories of African American achievement to people everywhere. That's the slogan. It's very lovely. But it's our shared history. Black history is American history. These are all of our collective stories. And so we talk about art, we talk about stories, we talk about their power. But at the end of the day, it's something that Professor Gibson said at the very beginning in his remarks. So often, history tries to get erased. Stories get lost to the time. Names have meaning, and we don't know the names. And so it's very critical that when we do have the opportunity to say the names. That's why I don't just quote poems. I'm like, here's who wrote the poem. Attributions, they matter. They're important. Telling you what my name is, what it means, how it's changed over time. It's important. And so I also want to model that because every single individual in this room, you have your own dreams, you have your own journeys, you have your own goals, you have your own projects, your own families, your own lives, your own livelihoods, your own struggles, all of it. And so I never want you to feel like, man, that was so inspiring, and now I got to get back to my, that's the point. I also got to get back to my, you know what I mean? So that's the most important thing. It's Black History Month. It's the shortest month, but it's the littest month. And we got 2 days left, so turn up.
Is Black History Month just for African Americans? Is Hispanic History Month just for Hispanics? Is Women's History Month? We're going into Women's History. Are these months, we're talking Black History now, is it just for, why or why not?
I feel like not at all. I don't think they're just for the group that they're named for, but I think the basis of it is for that group to be celebrated in all aspects. Because we all bring something so different to the table, so unique. Our cultures are so different, but they're all interwoven within each other. And I feel like we should all be celebrated. So that's why Black history should be celebrated by everyone, and not just Black people. Same thing with all the other months as well, because Women's History Month is coming up.
In
too,
a couple
so.
days. Yay! Yeah, and I'll also add too something that I had to learn moving through life. You know, growing up in different types of neighborhoods, being around different types of people, feeling safe in some spaces and like very, very uncomfortable in others. There is a reason why we find comfort in our communal spaces. Like why when I'm like doing my hair around other black people, it's just like so nice. I don't have to explain anything. But that being said, you can't just create empathy like out of nowhere. You have to have shared experiences and give yourself an opportunity to be uncomfortable. So often right now, what's going on, not just in the news or in the media, but like truly in real life, is because so many people have decided that we're not each other's neighbor and no one else matters besides themselves. And if anyone is unlike them in any other way, they should be insert blank here, something horrific, and it's horrible. And so knowing that that is the present macro reality, it's really important that in our own spaces, in our own bubbles, in our own micro realities, which is more real than the macro reality of what you see on TV. It's important that we create safe spaces for each other and one that we feel like we can share with other people. Like you should, if you're not black, feel comfortable sitting here and feel like there was something that you should get from it, etc. That makes sense? Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. We got time for a couple of more questions, and then I got one last question. I want to talk to the people that are afraid to ask the question. You want to ask one so bad. You're going to go home like, man, she came all the way from L.A., Texas, wherever she's born in L.A. She came all the way here, and I forgot my question, or I wanted to ask. Okay. I see, I knew it. Okay. Got some candidates up there. Y'all stand up so we can see y'all too, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ayana, and I'm also part of Dr. Child's class. And I just wanted to know, like, how are you confident and got over insecurities, and also how did you trust yourself, like, with your projects, and didn't leave them as just a draft and actually, like, put them into action?
I love that question. Thank you so much. And I love that I don't seem insecure. And I love that because it is all about, in a moment, the show must go on. And you've got to, meet the moment, all of that. But, like, my sis will tell you, 5 minutes before I came here, I was like, oh my God, where's my shoes? And where's this? And where's my iPad? And it's a chart. Like, that's just how the game goes, okay? So anybody who tells you that they're not insecure is lying, straight up. Hollywood is a show. It's a show and tell, right? That's what we know. But so is life, right? And so similar to Issa's Insecure, all those moments where she was like rapping in the mirror to herself, like to go hype herself up. Like when I say secure the bag playlist, I mean, I really mean it. But I also have playlists for so many other things as well. Like I have an album that I'll play just when I know I want to cry, or an album when I'm just taking a bath and I don't want to hear any music, or don't want to hear any lyrics. Different playlists when I'm driving in the car. Silence is so important as well. And so confidence, it comes and goes. And that's why I really talked about the importance of your roots. I'm gonna say it is so true, it's so real. Let's see. I will say I was recently in a government contract. Well, not say, but I was in a government contract, and I'm not anymore. And I will say that the tailwind of that experience, the last couple years have truly been like the most harrowing years of my life. And it hadn't been for Vandana and my parents and my inner circle and my roots. I mean, it wouldn't just be on the floor, like it would just be like a wrap for real. And so it's important, critical, that you have people around you when you're in those scenarios, even before it gets all the way that way, that can tell you like, hey, like, you good. And you should be checking in with your people too.
Hi, my name is David. I am a junior here at NKU. My question for you is, what is something that most people don't know about you? And also, same for Tracy Morgan.
So if you know him, you know this. If you don't, it's funny. Everywhere he goes, he's always playing music, like on a speaker. Like it doesn't matter if he's in the airport, if he's on set, if he's just walking down the street. Like you always know he's coming, but he's always setting the vibe, and I really like that about him a lot. And it's all kinds of music, but mostly like oldies, like rap, hip hop, R&B, Michael Jackson. Love Michael Jackson. So yeah, I love that quality about him. Something you don't know about me. So many things. Okay, I'll give you an Ohio specific one and then something random. Ohio specific, I've never had Skyline. Isn't that weird? I know, isn't that weird? It was something that I realized when I was younger, and I just kind of kept doing it for like a 2 truths and a lie, but also I just never wanted to eat it. But yeah, it's like it's the only gas I'll get is in this particular ring. I've never ever had Skyline. Never. Something you wouldn't know about me. I will say, okay, here's a random one. I love Spanish, and I love, like, in my head, in my heart, like, in my deepest wisdom, like, I am, like, an Afro-Latina, like, always have been. I love traveling to, like, Mexico, Colombia, Nicaragua. Like, I have spent the last year mostly in Spain. Like, it's something that, when we talk about, like, intersectionality, I spend some time in West Africa, finding my roots, thank God. But then also I've spent a lot of time in Cuba. And I know we're actually sitting in this theater, if you don't know. It's named for a Cuban immigrant, which made me like cry immediately. But there's so much happening right now. I could talk about Cuba for a very long time, but what I will say is so much of the experiences that are happening now is based on the American government and the relationships we've had with them since, I mean, really forever, but really in the crux of the 50s. And so, of all the things I'm super passionate about, and like things that you might know about me, that's something you might not know unless I had mentioned it. Yeah, like I'm really like for real, like la negra tiene tumbao, like for real, you know? Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, one last question. Anybody else? All right, right there over in the corner. We'll take two. We'll take three. Okay, let's make it quick. Got that one, then my brother in the back.
Wait, hold on. I'm also laughing. I'm laughing because this is one of my friends from I grew up with, so I'm really excited for this question.
My name is Morgan. I was just gonna say I'm a fan. But yeah, I was just gonna ask how do you measure success and what's your proudest accomplishment?
Hi, girl. I measure success in this moment. There's so many ways to answer, but I'll say in the impression I leave on other people. And sometimes that's like if I made you smile, or if it felt like my hug mattered, or if I said something that resonated with you that'll help you on your journey. Like that's how I measure success. My proudest accomplishment, honestly, I would say so many people that are like mentees, like my niece. I have 12 nieces and nephews. Every single one of them. The youngest two are 6. The oldest one is about to go to college. And so, yeah, I mean, my greatest accomplishment is being somebody who can be a teacher, an educator, a mentor, a resource, turn the faucet of opportunities and resources on. Those are things I feel proud to have accomplished. But measuring my success also is like that I found balance. Like I can really turn up and like when I say my grandma activities, you will see the bonnet come on like quick. So I'm proud of that.
Hi, my name's Mary. I was gonna say, you're so well spoken. I was wondering if there was a moment in your career where it kind of just clicked for you and you felt more confident in public speaking, or if it was something that just happened gradually over time.
You said Mary, right?
Yes.
Thank you, Mary. That's a great question as well. I have always been on a stage my whole entire life. From like ballet when my feet like still really couldn't point for real. I grew up doing like professional musical theater and acting and singing and dancing, playing instruments. Like I thought that I was gonna go to Juilliard for performing. And so I think I never had stage fright. I mean, there were definitely moments where I had to like gulp or like I lost my voice when I was supposed to be singing something good or whatever, but I do truly believe that I was born to be in the sun. And so in the moments where I feel like it's a little bit shady or cloudy or scary, like I just go to my room. You know? So yeah, I think, but in terms of like on a career, more public basis, I feel like I know that there's so many people who aren't like me. Whenever I'm in a room, I always want you to hear something that you wouldn't hear anywhere else. That's so important to me. It could be one-on-one or in a venue like this. And so, yeah, the more I realize, like, if I'm going to be the only one, like, turn my microphone up, you know? So it took some time, but also kind of like, it's just who I am, you know? Yeah. Thanks for asking, Mary.
And we're going to take one last comment, the brother in the back. And while he's talking, I want you to think about just some quick parting words, each of you, okay? So while he's going.
I don't know if you answered this because I just came in late, but have you ever dealt with gatekeeping, and what is your advice, or how would you pivot if that happened to you?
All right, Cat Williams, love him. Something he said recently in that Shannon Sharp, you guys saw that? I saw it over and over again. He said, every gate I see got keys. Every gate got a keeper. Every single one. Every single one. So I will say on gatekeeping. I have to say it. I gotta say it. Ooh, let me just say it. Okay. I'm gonna just do it. So here's the thing. Did y'all see what happened at the BAFTAs with Michael B. Jordan, Delroy Lindo? Raise your hand if you did see it. All right. Okay. So this is not a flex. This is just the truth. So the Jordan family is like my surrogate family. Khalid, Michael's little brother, is my manager, my best friend. Like, it's a big deal when it comes to gatekeeping, because when it comes to the BAFTAs, it's something that we're never ever there. We're never represented, let alone Ryan Coogler getting nominated, let alone him winning, right? It's a big deal. Sinners is the most nominated movie in the history of cinema. Like, that's a big deal. It's a big deal, right? And so when it comes to gatekeeping, the opportunity to even be there has always been dangled like a carrot, just like this, right? And the thing is, once you realize, like, when you're at an award show, the people there all nominated for themselves. Like, I went to the Emmys and everyone just kept clapping for each other. Like, I nominated you and you got, I was like, do y'all see this at home? Right? And so you have to realize the systems were designed a certain way. They were designed a certain way on purpose. And so all the work of trying to like change the system can be very exhausting, but you also have to learn how the system works first. So spend time. Like, I don't just hang out with Black people. You can't, and I shouldn't, right? So take time to learn how the gates worked, where all the keys are, and instead of just trying to get a seat at the table or build your own table, you got to do a little bit of both. You have to have multiple seats, and don't just sit in the seat that's designated for you, because literally, I can't tell you how many times a seat was taken out of some dusty conference room and dragged out here, and there's dust and cobwebs and everything, and they were like, there's your seat. And I was like, okay, great. And I sat down later and I was like, ew, where has this chair been? Okay, so just be careful. But yeah, gates, also, there's so many doors. You know what I'm saying? There's so often people think that you can only get one thing from one person. And you might say, oh, if I just met Oprah, here's what would happen. And I would do this and this would happen, and blah, blah, blah. And like, think about why you want to meet her in particular. Really ask yourself that. And once you know that answer, ask yourself, do I have to get it from her? The answer is always, always no. Always. Because you're not just trying to get something from someone too as well, right? So just be very mindful of that. And yeah, if the gate is closed, just do a U-turn and just go somewhere else sometimes. It's better that way.
From parting words from Jasmine.
First of all, happy Black History Month again. But I do want to say, oh, right, okay. My parting words would just be, just like Miss Olivia has been saying, live in the today. Don't worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow got its own problems. But yeah, live in the today. And don't measure your success based on anyone else. You are your own person. You are successful in your very own ways, and celebrate those small wins. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Wait, I was going to say my parting word.
Sorry, I thought those were your parting words. But
No,
we
I'm a part
love it.
this way. I'm gonna say this. I've said so many words. I'm gonna say, tell somebody that you haven't talked to in a really long time, but you've been thinking about what they mean to you. Yeah, that's my parting word.
Wow, that's powerful. Now let's give them a round of applause. Let's give Olivia a round of applause. Beautiful job. Thank you. Thank you. Make sure y'all tweet out because what that does is let the rest of the world know what we're doing. I don't believe in just doing things in one place in one particular time, but this wisdom needs to go out. There will be at some point a YouTube recording out there and that you can share out. This was a special moment. We were at a particular place in a particular time, a particular part of history today, and history was made. Everybody that was here was blessed to be here, and privileged to be here. And so that's awesome. I do want to acknowledge a few people before we close out. First of all, we have Dr. Corey Henderson. Can you stand up, Dr. Henderson? You want to have anything to say? Stand up so I can tell who you are. She's on our Board of Regents, and she's just amazing. She does so many things here. Thank you for coming. She's one of the administrators here. All the staff that helped today, all the student staff, stand up, please. Hannah, David, Abigail, Eric. Am I missing any? Oh, Jasmine, of course. I couldn't have did it without them, so let's give them a round of applause. Good job. Thank you. Okay. So Olivia has a lot to do, and so she's going to head right out. We apologize. She's not going to be able to answer any more questions or anything. She directs you to her LinkedIn, so you'll see her kind of taking off. But I'll stick around. Little old me. But thank you so much for coming. Thank y'all. Be safe. God bless. Okay? Till we meet. I always sing. Again. May his peace be with you till we meet